Yo, Eric, we're over here on the paranormal hunt, and I headed over to this other building, and it's number 13. Or is this someone live? My God.
All right, welcome to a show on a Friday. It's a Friday. It's for a lot of you, it's the thing of the week, and if it's not, I apologize. I wish all you guys would be. This is your Friday. You have the weekend off, because one of the best things about the weekend is, even though I don't do a show on the weekend, but you got Unidentified S4 is going to have a kick-ass show this Sunday with Long Island Bigfoot.
Can't wait.
If a lot of you guys don't know Long Island Bigfoot, he is such an awesome guy.
He really is.
Researcher. He's also a war hero. You know, he's a war hero to me. He's a disabled veteran.
That's right.
Like myself too. We both got injured in the military, but he's a clean cut guy. He's awesome. He does great research, and he's going to be on his channel this Sunday. So anybody in the chat, Danny Staten, if you could put Long Island Bigfoot in the chat, I appreciate it. Today's show, guys, is I got a bunch of videos. I'm going to show some of the behind the characters in a way that we did in the cartoon. Okay, so like, who is Zeus? Who is Gabriel the Archangel? You know, technically, who is Zeus? Vampires. So there's a mix of stuff of characters that was in the cartoon that maybe, you know, even though Anthony himself knows about the church, grew up in the church, you know, my grandpa was a minister in a church, but you'd be surprised nowadays that a lot of people don't really know Gabriel the Archangel, don't know a little bit of the folklore story of Zeus and all that. So this is that kind of a show. It's not here to tell you this is the truth or not. I just found some videos and kind of give you an idea who some of these folklore stories. And I'm not saying religion is a folklore story. You can believe in religion or not, but one of the best things I will say about a Bible is the stories that are inside it. You know, these stories inside of a Bible, even if you agree with the Bible or not, these stories come from somewhere. You know, it's just like the Bigfoot stories, the paranormal stories. These stories do originate from somewhere. And one of the first videos that I'm going to show you guys is actually, I want to get the actual name here, is one of the characters that we used in the cartoon is called Typhon. You know, Typhon is in the world of Zeus.
Right.
He was I guess you could say a devil beast in a way that fought Zeus. So if you're curious what is exactly a Typhon, well, I got a video for you guys to check out. What's a Typhon? What is that red thing flying in the air? You know, Anthony thought it was Batman for a second. You know, Barry thought it was Batman. And, you know, it wasn't Batman. But this is what a Typhon is.
After the Titans had been defeated by the gods of Olympus, it was time to divide the spoils of war. Zeus was determined to finish the era when the tyrant gods ruled the universe, and so he decided to share some of his power. Zeus, as the supreme god, started to reign over the sky. Poseidon became the lord of the seas, whereas Hades assumed total power over the underworld, also known as the kingdom of the dead. Everyone who fought by his side was properly honored. From that moment onward, the government of the gods of the Olympus over the world and man were put in motion. But after being capable of strengthening this sort of power, the gods will still have to face one last and dreadful challenge. The goddess Gaia, the mother of the Titans, was enraged with the gods of Olympus since they had imprisoned her sons in the Tartarus. and so she plotted a revengeful act against Zeus. The goddess generated the darkest creature of all, the monster Typhon. This powerful being was conceived just with one purpose, to defeat Zeus. The outrageous beast departed to Mount Olympus. The gods of Olympus, spotting the enormous beast, ran away in panic. To avoid being recognized, they disguised themselves as animals and found shelter in Egypt. Their divinity also recognized and revered there. Only Zeus remained to fight Typhon. The clash between them was ferocious. Zeus used his bolts as a weapon, as well as the scythe of Kronos. Nonetheless, during the battle, Zeus is disarmed by Typhon, who used the scythe to tear Zeus's tendons. The powerful god is defeated and injured. Zeus is imprisoned, and his tendons started to be supervised by Echidna, the woman serpent. With the help of Pan, the god Hermes managed to steal Zeus's tendons and gave them back to Zeus, who regained his strength and set sail, looking forward to having his revenge against Typhon. Zeus had the immeasurable help from Amore, who fed the beast with poison fruit. Finding his enemy in a debilitated condition, Zeus advanced to consummate his victory. He shot his most powerful bolt against Typhon's head, who crumbled in defeat. Zeus imprisoned him at Mount Etna, which, due to the monster's immense power, started to spit lava from time to time. After this valiant victory, the way for Zeus and the gods of Olympus to reign over the earth was open.
You're muted.
Sorry guys, I mute sometimes just so it doesn't echo with the microphone with that. So you can see that Typhon is, we use exactly kind of the folklore story of how Zeus defeated him with the bolt. That's why the idea was that Lucifer stole the bolt for us to use the bolt, because that is what kind of captures the Typhon. So the Typhon is a real cryptid creature in the stories. Now, can I tell you for real that he's a real cryptid in the world? I don't know.
A mythological creature, yeah.
Yeah, he's a mythological creature. So if you didn't know exactly what a Typhon was, I hopefully that kind of give you a little background of who he was.
That was the first time I ever heard of it.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. You know, I love taking different folklore stories and bringing them together, and there's actually our stories behind them. And I hope that's what you guys get when you watch these cartoons, like the stories behind it. And, you know, the connection with the pyramids. We had pyramids. So that was cool. Now, this one is everybody is who is Zeus? A lot of videos I try to pick out for Zeus were so copyrighted that you weren't even allowed to play them. I was not in a lot of countries. So it's kind of videos that you were taking down. I found one that had no copyrights on it that I'm able to use, but I'm not going to say he's the best narrator in the world, but the message gets done of who is Zeus, you know, what is Zeus, you know, so let's check it out.
In pagan circles, Zeus is considered the king of all gods. However, if you delve a little deeper, you will find out that he was just a human being, and he was one of Noah's grandsons. In fact, he was the founder of Egypt and known by other names such as Osiris, Mizraim, and Jupiter. He lived around 2500 years before Jesus. People worshipped him according to the custom of ancestral worship. One interesting thing about ancestral worship is that the actions of the ancestors get embellished by word of mouth beyond compare over time, and they are made to appear like God himself. That's exactly what happened to Zeus when Greek poet Homer wrote about him 1700 years later. By then, people treated Zeus like God and sacrificed animals to him, seeking personal favors. Greeks revered him the most, and when they occupied the land of ancient Israel in the 2nd century BC, Antiochus IV installed a statue of Zeus in the temple of Solomon and sacrificed a pig upon his altar in order to desecrate it. It is funny to see how humans foolishly challenge God Almighty with one of their own ancestor idols. What they fail to see here is that the ancestral worship was introduced by fallen angels to alienate humans from God and lead them to hell. Apart from that, now we know that Zeus was just a human being, not what they portray of him as almighty in video games. Thanks for watching.
Kind of interesting. I played that because in that storyline that he was actually a human, not really the Almighty God. So I'm not here to tell you, the full thing of it, but it's just kind of an interesting kind of a twist where he's a family member of Noah. I never heard that part before. I don't know if Anthony, if you heard that Zeus is actually in the family of Noah, but no. I mean, what do I know? I mean, it's not like I study every angle of these gods, but now you guys heard it in the chat that according to this guy, he's actually blood related to Noah. So be kind of interesting research to do more on it. Was he related to Noah? I mean, it's just, I think it's interesting. But now this next one is called Zeus versus Jesus, and not in a battle sense. They're talking about how the popularity of Zeus shifted when Jesus Christ has become into the world, where Zeus kind of took a back seat. So it's kind of interesting. I never knew that Zeus was top of the line of the storyline, and Jesus kind of took over that storyline. So hopefully a lot of you are interested in this kind of a stuff, but let me see here.
In the myth, Zeus has held on to power in the face of strong opposition. But there is one more challenger he didn't count on: Jesus Christ. In the 1st century AD, his message would take the world by storm and dethrone Greece's dominant god.
When Christianity came and promised salvation in the afterlife, so gave people something to believe in, something that could happen to them after their death, Christianity found many followers.
Zeus's stranglehold on humankind faltered as this new religion spread across the Mediterranean world. Ultimately, the same civilization that worshipped him would reject him.
In antiquity, there was no more powerful force than Zeus, except for one: fate. Not even Zeus himself could overturn it. Much as he wants to, on occasion, try to change fate or redirect it, he himself is even subject to its dictates.
Before the rise of Christianity, Zeus's myth captivated the Greek world for thousands of years and made him the most feared and respected of all the gods. But he was only one of many, from Greece and beyond, who would leave their mark on mankind. Some are still familiar names: Hercules, Hades, Medusa. And each of their stories is a window into a long-lost world, a code waiting to be deciphered.
These myths reveal to us in a uniquely powerful way the hidden strata that lay underneath our conscious, awake lives, our understanding of the world. And like an archaeology of the human mind, we can dig into them and see the deep recesses of human psyches. And I think that's what makes these myths so powerful.
When you think about it, it does tell you how powerful faith really is, that faith takes over. And it's weird, not really weird to think about, because we're born, Christianity's already been here. Right. It's weird to think about of religion, or you can even say certain areas, how certain cults, certain things kind of just sweep over. And then one time you're on top of the world. Next thing you know, you're on the back seat. It's weird. I never really realized how people looked up as Zeus as the god and then got taken over by faith, by Christianity. Jesus.
I was told actually by a psychic that in a past life that I was one of the Knights Templar in my past life. And I believed it so much because I had such an affliction with the Knights Templar stuff. Like I have the sword. I even got it tattooed on my arm.
Oh, wow.
You know, I got Knights Templar as an archangel on my arm. I mean, I'm just fascinated by it. I got Saint Michael, a huge Saint Michael tattoo on my back, like 2 feet by like 19 inches wide, like 24 inches long by 19 inches wide on my back. Like, I strongly believe that stuff. I'm fascinated by it. When she told me that I was a Knights Templar in my past life, I believed it. I really did.
Hey.
Could you imagine, bro? That would be so cool.
You know, it would be interesting. I like Amber's Paranormal, when she did a private reading, she says that I have 7 reincarnation lives now, and it makes you think, well, what are they? You know what I mean? Well,
I wasn't told how many past lives I had, right? But each time I was told by this psychic that each past life I had, I was a fighter. She said you were a knight multiple times. She basically put it that I was always a defender of good, and that was really cool because she didn't even know that I was an ex-cop. So that was really cool.
I do want to say hello to the last 2 comments are from people that were actually in this cartoon. Cosmic Neighbors Ron, who played Gabriel the Archangel, which technically he's the next video. Bigfoot Michigan Rob, who I got a video on Lucifer, who he plays. So that's kind of so that's cool that they're here. They get to see what are their characters come from. Faith is everywhere. I know people, you watch the news, they saying that younger people are forgetting about it, but I don't know, man, because I drive down the road. There's 2 churches over here on the left. I go right turn. There's another church. I mean, there's so many churches. And it really, if you think about it, in my town alone, there's probably 20 to 30 churches, and not talking about next town. So when people say faith is not here, I don't know, man. These churches cannot just, these churches actually, I think religion do get a tax break. I don't know the whole world.
Yeah, they don't pay tax at all.
Yeah, I don't think they pay tax.
No religious institution does.
Yeah, if you get yourself considered as a religion institute,
they become exempt.
You don't have to pay taxes, but it's just amazing of how many churches are on every other block. So when you keep hearing that faith is going, I don't know, man. There's church on every block, and there's people go to these every Sunday, whatever day. I can't go because I got football on Sunday. That's my religion. That's my NFL religion. But Ron from Cosmic Neighbors plays a character called Gabriel the Archangel, right? And if you don't know a lot about angels, there's actually different levels of angels, different jobs that angels have. So this is the character of who is Gabriel the Archangel.
The Archangel Gabriel is known as the Lord's messenger. The name Gabriel means man of God or emissary of God. The angel Gabriel is certainly one of the most well-known angelic figures, along with the archangels Raphael and Michael, and the fallen angel Lucifer. His most noteworthy appearance clearly took place when he announced the birth of the Son of God. The angel Gabriel was sent by God to Galilee to conduct the noblest mission of all. He would announce to the Virgin Mary that she would receive the grace of conceiving the Highness's son. At first, Mary felt frightened, but the archangel reassured her and revealed God's will. This unborn baby would soon be named Jesus. Even though this is the most renowned biblical episode in which Gabriel is present, there are other moments where the angel of Annunciation showed his character. The angel appeared before the prophet Daniel to announce the Messiah's coming. Likewise, he also stood before Zechariah the priest, announcing the arrival of his son John the Baptist. Zechariah doubted Gabriel, and so he remained speechless until the birth of his son. According to the biblical texts, the Archangel Gabriel affirms that he is always in God's presence, and that he serves him to announce the good news. For this reason, those who believe in these heavenly figures and are devoted to them pray to and ask the angel to disclose the good news and God's promises for their lives. The angel Gabriel, in some Christian doctrines, is regarded as the personification of the Holy Spirit. The Archangel Gabriel is the patron of several professions, most of which related to messengers and alike, such as postmen, diplomats, and communication professionals. But Angel Gabriel's influence extends itself beyond Christianity. According to the Islamic faith, the Angel Gabriel had a crucial role in the history of Islam. When Muhammad was praying on a hill in Mecca, Gabriel appeared before him, disclosing the Quran. This is the Muslim sacred book and has Allah's literal word. After Gabriel's revelation, Muhammad began his work of spreading God's work. Due to his major contribution, Gabriel, the angel of the Annunciation, is a revered figure in the Judeo-Christian culture and also in the Islamic world.
Now, I'm going to tell you guys, it's not a secret, that about the name Gabriel the Archangel. I love the movie The Prophecy. I just did. Now, in that one, of course, Gabriel the Archangel got tired of God liking humans, so he kind of was looking for the most evil soul on earth to start the second war in heaven. That was the idea for the cartoon in a way, but except I didn't use Gabriel to be evil. Gabriel's still a good person in the cartoon. But I love Christopher Walken's character so much of Gabriel the Archangel. Of course, in the cartoon, I made Gabriel to look like Christopher Walken in a small way. When we had our first son, I love the movie so much, I named my first son Gabriel. Just so that you guys know, because of the movie, because Gabriel because of all angels, the Archangel is the angel that does a lot of the work for God in a way. He does some say even the dirty work that God needs to be done and all that. So Gabriel is a pretty powerful angel in a way. I mean, Anthony, you probably know more than me. I mean, I don't know how the exact levels of angels work, but
I like Saint Michael is my favorite. That's my man right there, Saint Michael.
So, but is an archangel like a high general in the world of angels?
Yeah, the generals in God's army, right?
He's basically the general. Yeah,
the generals. Yeah.
So hopefully, if people didn't know who Gabriel was, hopefully that little video kind of gave you a little background story of Gabriel the Archangel. Now, you talk about Michael. Now, Michael is also considered an archangel too, correct?
Yeah.
But is there like in typical terms, is there like a main difference between the job duties of Michael versus Gabriel, or are they both kind of have like the same kind of job?
I think Gabriel was ranked the first general, and Michael's second in command, Gabriel's third in command, and Raphael's fourth in command. But together, the four of them together, they're unstoppable when they unite together. There's no defeating them. I mean, Saint Michael is the one that keeps Satan. He's the one that's standing on Satan. He's the one that's, snares the devil and keeps him at bay in hell. That's Saint Michael's job, to keep him in hell. So it's a pretty powerful job.
Like what they wrote, simple, the warrior angels.
Right, the warrior. Exactly.
They do the dirty work, and I think it was it's just a little interesting on what in the prophecy, thinking of it. Well, what if they got sick of it, just like the next video I'm going to show on who is Lucifer? If he, Lucifer is a fallen angel, in case people don't know that.
Lucifer was the right hand of Christ at one time. He was God's right hand.
If I don't know, maybe a lot of young people don't. I'm not saying they don't. I don't know what people know, but I don't think that kind of teaching is really out there. People think of hell, heaven, but I think a lot of young people probably don't realize that Lucifer was actually a top angel, like you
He
said,
was
the
a
top
general
angel
as
of them
well.
all.
He was
And
he was the right hand of Christ, and he wanted equal power of heaven. He wanted equal control, and Christ told him there can only be one, which is me, and he wouldn't want to stand for that.
Yeah, one of the not theories, but George Lucas, when he made the Star Wars movie, The Sith versus Jedi, one of the things he made about the Sith is jealousy. Jealousy leads to a dark side, leads you down the wrong path when you want the power, you want to be like equal or in charge. And that's a lot of the Sith was developed behind that theory. So the stories of the angels and Lucifer are in so many different movies that they just don't announce it, but the theories are there. But the question is, if I'm going to talk about angels, well, what's Lucifer's story? Who is Lucifer? Well, let's find out.
In the world's dawn, God created the heavens and the earth on the second day. And on the very same day, God created the angels, archangels, and cherubim. And these heavenly creatures would inhabit the heavens. The renowned Gabriel and Michael were among these magnificent beings. But there was yet another entity who stood out due to his beauty and splendor, known as Lucifer. He was the most important creature God had ever created. But although he had so many qualities, or perhaps due to that, Lucifer was taken by pride. This is the vice that leads to arrogance, vanity, and endless haughtiness. Pride was one of the 7 deadly sins. The proud Lucifer considered himself to be so perfect that he decided to create his own throne, placed even above God, since he wished to be like God. To accomplish his plan, the evil angel deceived the other angels around him. Therefore, the father of falsehood had by his side a third of the angelic beings who inhabited the heavens. Together, they would unleash a battle for heaven. But Lucifer encountered an outstanding opponent, Archangel Michael, who commanded the heavenly militia of God-loving angels. To defeat the Lord's angels, Lucifer turned himself into a mighty dragon and dueled against Michael, who wielded a flaming sword. Notwithstanding all his might, the dragon did not defeat Michael, since the latter had God by his side. Lucifer and his evil angels were banished from heaven. These angels fell on the earth and were trapped in hell. But Lucifer endured even greater punishment. He, once the most beautiful angel, was transformed into the heinous Satan. Lucifer and his fallen angels started to live in hell. But although defeated, Satan still wanted to avenge himself against his creator and decided to attack his greatest creation, humanity itself, which had been created in the image and likeness of God. A serpent-shaped Satan entered the Garden of Eden and convinced the innocent Eve to taste the forbidden fruit. And using his deceitful tongue, Lucifer concatenated the original sin, which caused Adam and Eve to be driven out of paradise. After that, Satan would devote all his efforts to alienate man from God, turning them into sinners so that they failed to reach paradise. Lucifer, the fallen angel, rejected God's grace, and therefore will spend eternity trying to destroy his work.
Okay, so you learn, and that's actually was considered the first war. So there was a person asking me, what do you mean second war? Well, that was considered the first war. And now there are some theories that there is a second war going on, but I don't know. I mean, I guess we won't know until we pass away. But the idea, like in the movie, The Prophecy, Lucifer in that movie kind of helped a couple humans on giving him ways to how to defeat Gabriel, because like in the movie, one hell's too many. You know, You can't have two of them. You can't share it. So the idea for the cartoon was Lucifer is going to help us to get to heaven, because he doesn't want two hells. He doesn't want Zeus to defeat all of heaven. It's just two evil hells, and that's, you know, in a way. So kind of like in the movie, Lucifer helps us out, but he's still not a good guy. That's why I have him stole the bolt, because I got to show that he's still not the most polite guy in the world, you know. And I wonder, Bigfoot Michigan Rob, I wonder what he thought of when I asked him to play Lucifer.
Mhm.
You know, Ron got the Gabriel, the Archangel, the nice guy, and he got Lucifer. So, but in the long run, Lucifer did help us to get us up there for his own greed. He just didn't want it a second hell.
I was a little freaked out when you started that video, right? Because you see Lucifer, and in the very beginning of it, he's got the rosary beads wrapped around his hand, right? In the very beginning of that video. And before this video started, because you were going to talk about the devil, I literally wrapped my rosary beads around my hand the same way.
Wow.
And when the video started, I was like, oh, shit.
Second Star Matt wrote, Lucifer is actually the only angel that can freely move out of hell, or other angels that sided with him are chained in hell until Revelation. And Matt, you're exactly right. That's why in the cartoon I only had Lucifer himself to come out, because I knew that story, that only he is allowed to come out. So that's why I didn't use.
Well, in all actuality, I mean, he's right about that, but demons do get out from time to time. That's why we have exorcism.
But are the demons the falling angels, or they were just demons created?
No, they're created by Lucifer himself. They're created by the depths of hell, right?
I felt you felt me as evil, so just kidding.
No, not at all.
No, I gotta say, Michigan Rob did it awesome. That little extra voice he added to it.
Yeah, we needed somebody very talented, and Bigfoot Michigan Rob fit the bill for that. So
now beyond those characters, Anthony, you know, at the end of it, Jesus Christ came down and is telling us about the next mission.
Yeah,
about vampires. You know, we got to defeat vampires, and the reason God wants us to defeat vampires is because God creates life. Vampire basically kills your soul, makes you the undead.
Right.
So it's like vampire is like heaven and hell in the middle, and that's limbo, because you're still walking around like you have a soul, but you don't, because the vampire killed it.
The undead, right?
The undead. So here's one video of what are vampires.
Welcome to I'm Your Target Demographic, and today we're looking into the history of vampires, some folklore that involved them, and how they've appeared in various media. Throughout history, we've seen many myths about vampires, going back as far as ancient Mesopotamia. They had stories of demons that would drink blood before the term vampire ever existed. In ancient Greece, we had a character named Lamia who became a child-eating demon, known for drinking blood. For some reason, this terrifying image was used across many different and disconnected cultures to represent absolute evil. The term vampire was often synonymous with the devil, hence why vampires often have weaknesses to religious symbols and holy water, seen as demonic in nature. The term vampire itself came from Eastern Europe, from countries like Serbia and Austria. In these countries, being a vampire wasn't always about being dead, but you could do things like drink blood while you're alive and still meet the criteria. In Croatia, we have a relatively popular story in 1672 about a man who supposedly died, but villagers claimed he rose from the dead, drinking the blood of the living. At this early time, there wasn't a common agreement on how people became vampires. There were many superstitions that didn't last long, including burying a body upside down, being buried with an open wound, and even if an animal jumped over the corpse, that might signal that it would rise from the dead. Bats flying over graves at night is believed to be the origin of the vampires turning into bats attribute. While the term vampire was used mostly in Eastern Europe, other areas of Europe were using the term revenant and draugr, both forms of undead who shared similarities with what we call vampires. Throughout the 1700s, there was an actual crusade to find and kill vampires throughout Europe. There were many quote-unquote vampire cases, but science was so limited in those times that any findings were just anecdotal, and there were only a few witnesses to every incident. In small towns throughout Europe, there are still many superstitions about vampires and even recent sightings, though nothing has been well documented. Other myths about the vampire are relatively recent. No one can really prove the origin of the garlic weakness, or the inability to appear in mirrors. They may have been invented as vampires started to appear in fiction. In 1819, we got The Vampire, featuring an anti-hero named Lord Ruthven. Because he was somewhat a good guy in the story, he did appear charismatic and alluring, a trait not usually found in actual folklore. What's considered the authoritative fictional story of vampires came in 1897, Bram Stoker's Dracula. As he studied to write this book, Bram Stoker based most of his writing on superstitions from the real region of Transylvania. Because of using Transylvania in his book, it has since become a major tourist attraction and always tied to vampire folklore. Dracula was invented as fiction as well, though has become a mainstay in vampire mythology. Stoker's work is highly regarded now, but he died poor before his book saw much success. Since then, vampires have remained in our pop culture. They began with the silent film Nosferatu, intended to feature Dracula, but they couldn't get the rights to say so. The actual Dracula film followed, starring Bela Lugosi and kicking off Universal's series of monster films. We have Anne Rice's books, and the movies based on them, such as Interview with the Vampire. We have the television show Dark Shadows. Vampires even found their way into comic books, such as the vampire hero known as Blade. Things escalated with films like Underworld, that pitched a world where vampires and werewolves fought, or Van Helsing, which reimagined the hero from the Dracula novel as a badass vampire killer instead of a scholarly doctor. Then came Twilight in 2005, which propelled a whole new generation into the vampire genre, and even more so romanticized them, taking the form of glittery teenage heartthrobs. On the heels of this came the darker version True Blood on HBO and the more cheesy version on the CW, Vampire Diaries. For a few years, vampires were everywhere, but it seemed to slow down. Their dangerous nature paired with everlasting youth is a combination ripe for storytelling. Vampires have also seeped into other mediums, such as the playable vampire counts in the game Warhammer, or the role-playing game Vampire the Masquerade, that allows you to actually play the part of a vampire yourself. Video games such as Castlevania have been quite popular, even launching a Netflix-exclusive cartoon recently. So how do you feel about vampires? Do you think there's truth to the age-old rumors, or do you think it's all just small-town panic due to not understanding science? Let me know in the comments about your favorite vampires, and thanks for watching. Hey there, thanks for...
There's so much story and different theories of vampires. It's pretty amazing that, you know, you would think people are bored of vampires, but it's just proven that you do it correctly, you do it right, vampire stories will never go away, because there's just so many different approaches that you could take with the vampire story.
Yep.
You know, if you had to pick like one of your favorite vampire movies, do you actually have a favorite vampire movie?
Well, I always liked Blade. It was one of my favorites. And then what was the other one with the lichen, you know, the werewolves and the vampire?
Oh, Underworld.
Underworld. Those were great.
Oh, God.
I would have to go with Underworld being probably my favorite ones.
I loved Underworld.
The girl was so hot in Underworld, man. I mean,
and the lichens, and in a lot of ways, it made you feel sorry for the lichens, because it was based out of love for
they were tortured,
and I love almost every single Underworld movie, except I start losing Underworld when they brought in a child, and she had a child. Anytime you bring in somebody who has a child, especially on TV shows, it's usually because the fan base is dying out, and for whatever reason, they bring in a kid that's going to bring in people. I don't know.
Yeah, but, me and Andy Gambino played vampires in a movie. Did you ever see that?
You guys play in a vampire?
Yeah. I got a little clip on the bottom there in black and white. Check it out. There's no value.
Oh man, I can't wait to see this. You guys
It's
ready
short.
for this?
It's like 2 seconds long.
Yeah. Indeed.
You guys made that?
Yeah.
That is awesome. But what if I tell you guys that I found a video that's going to teach you on how you can become a vampire? And I said, what if I tell you this video? It's got to be, if it's on social media, it's got to be real, right?
You know, while you're on that subject, if you had the opportunity to really become an actual vampire, would you take it?
Oh my God. You know, that's like the ultimate question, because if you could keep your same thoughts, your same feeling, but you can live forever. God, I tell you, it is so.
My wife asked me that on Halloween, and I said no, I wouldn't do it. But that's just me. She would. My wife would, but I wouldn't.
It's just so it makes. But this is the thing. This is the thing. If you can live forever, and the government finds out that you are a vampire and they capture you, that means you might be in prison forever.
I don't think you would have to worry about the government finding you, anything like that. Just the fact of being alive forever, having to live on blood, having to kill people, right? Having no soul, your life never going to heaven. When you die, you're going to go to hell. You know, eternal damnation. I mean, those are the things I look at.
But what if you take the Dexter side, where, you know, Dexter from the Showtime show, where he has to hurt people. He just has to, but he picks the bad people. What if you're that kind of vampire that you know who are the bad people and you take care of them for you feeding, and you're kind of helping out the world of getting rid of these garbage people?
I don't get me wrong. I agree with that logic, but the Bible says that the Bible says thou shalt not kill.
True.
So, no matter how you look at it, you know, you're not supposed to kill.
But true. But in that world, that's for you to have a key to heaven. But if you're going to be a vampire, you don't need a key to heaven, because you're going to live on earth forever.
Who the hell would want to live on earth forever?
I know, right? I know. I know.
Even if you live forever and you had all that money and castles and beautiful cars and beautiful girls, right? It would probably get boring after the while, right?
Would.
Yeah.
You're right. It probably would. And I guess it's a different story of being asked if you're a vampire, especially if you're married with kids, because you want to stay with your wife and kids and all that. Now, if you lost everybody, you're a loner, I guess I can see where that might be intriguing to you, because you're like, you have nothing else to lose. But
right.
But you do have family. You do have, and with the wife, you get pissed
but they're all going to die eventually, right? And then you're going to be alone. So
would the wife get pissed at you because she gets older and you stay the same age?
Probably. She's going for Botox and everything else, and I just look like a good looking 20-year-old, you know, for the rest of my life.
But people, if you want to become a vampire, apparently this is the way to do it. A how-to video.
Warning.
Please beware of your decision to turn yourself into a vampire. There is no turning back. Once a vampire, always a vampire.
You need to do this at Friday midnight on the first and third week each month for 3.
Okay. First of all, you need to do this, guys. Write this down. You need to do this at Friday midnight on the first and third week of each month for 3 months.
So you can start tonight.
Months. Failure to do so will give you no results. With a soft voice, and you facing towards an open window in your room, say this spell 13 times during that midnight. Blood red. Pale skin. Moonlight draw me in. Quench my thirst. Coursing veins. Let my body feel no pain. Blood red. Pale skin. Moonlight draw me in. Quench my thirst. Coursing veins. Let my body feel no pain.
So say that 13 times.
Remember
Like
to do
Anthony said, start
exactly
tonight.
as mentioned here, if you want to see great results. On the night of the 3rd week of the 3rd month, you will feel a little bit of dizziness, right after you cast your final spell. And after that, you will feel really energetic, like never before. The next morning, you will feel a new you. Go outside and get some exposure to sunlight. You will notice the sun is hotter than usual. Try to run. You will notice that you are running faster than before.
All right, so some of you in the chat need to try this for Anthony and I. So,
Yes, please.
say that, so you're gonna have to watch this video over and over through us,
Yeah.
and that might give me more views. So that might be
Right.
a benefit for us.
Everyone watch this video 13 times in a row, each month for 3 months.
And then, you know, at first I thought she's gonna say don't go to the sunlight because it might kill you. But I guess sunlight, it just feels harder to you. Okay, and you're gonna be able to run faster and all that, and you're gonna feel more energetic. Okay.
Sure.
Well, who am I? I mean, I've never tried that. So, guys, mark your calendars now. You all got probably iPhones and
Today's the first Friday of the month, so you could start tonight.
and then let us know in 3 months if you feel more energetic and you're
Yeah.
running faster.
Right. And if you become a vampire, go bite Eric.
Well, actually, Anthony and I probably got a list of certain people that we would love you to bite.
Yeah.
Get them off this planet.
We got a
and
hit
all
list.
that.
We got a hit list for you.
You know, so guys, I know today's a little different, but I love doing different off the wall kind of topics because whatever you feel about the Bible, religion, it's up to you. I never tell anybody what they should believe in, but you got to admit the stories that's in these Bibles do come from somewhere. It is still written by people of these stories, and just like the Bigfoots, the paranormals, the Greek stories and all that, they started somewhere. And I'm not telling you every story is true or not. Stories do get exaggerated. We know that. But they do start from somewhere. So, I don't know. I hope, Anthony, you enjoyed today. Hopefully.
You know what? I really did enjoy this episode. This was really good.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's different. And it kind of tells you that, you know, when you do, one thing is I love about doing cartoons is you could take all these different stories and you kind of bring them all together. Even that dagger that's used to kill the spider, that's a real, true folklore dagger in Egypt. I forgot the name of it. God.
A kapesh.
That's a real weapon. You know, so a lot of these stories are taken from real areas. You know, Jack and the Beanstalk. Now, I'm not going to tell you Jack and the Beanstalk. So, actually, Anthony, Jack and the Beanstalk, I was trying to look up to see if that story is generated from a real folklore story that started somewhere. And of course, I couldn't find anything.
It's a kid fable.
It is pure made up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to see if there was some kind of where some guy got his imagination from.
I believe they used to tell kids that story so they would work in the farms with their parents, and that it was like a folklore story they would tell their kids. You know, you could find the magic beads in the field, so go to work or whatever. You know, one of those type things.
They start young. They want you to start working, being a slave to the
government,
to the states from the moment you're a kid.
They had no child labor laws back then, so they wouldn't pay the kids. They would just tell them, go out there, work, and maybe you'll find the magic beans.
No, I forget. And then, like Susanna A said, it's been a great night. It's some people who watch this areas, it is nighttime because I think she's from Australia, right?
Yeah, yep.
Australia and all that.
Awesome.
And all that. And guys, I want to thank all of you who have tribute to the show and all that. Anthony said it like on the show, you know. I think somebody did donate it earlier in the chat, and I think I saw it. I didn't see who it was.
Terry Brown.
Terry Brown donated. So Terry Brown, let me give you this. my friend.
And thank you, Terry. Terry supports all the shows.
Terry does, and
Great guy, man.
He doesn't even need to, and he does. And I want to thank everybody for being here today. If you want to donate, you can. Every penny goes directly back into the cartoon, to the point where I actually got a couple of my favorite toys right now being selling them on eBay as we speak. Some of my favorite toys, because I want to make sure I have enough to get through 7 and 8. You know, some of my favorite Jack, the skeleton from Nightmare Before Christmas is on there. So beyond that, this Sunday, let me pop up the link to your show this Sunday. Let me get it here for a second.
I think Ron, Cosmic Neighbors, what's he saying? I got a pop-up stream coming up in a little bit. He'll post a link in Twitter on Cosmic Neighbors.
Yeah, put it in
Sunday
there.
show is going to be dynamite, man. With
there we go. This is Sunday's show with Long Island Bigfoot, and I'll put that link right in here. That's this Sunday, 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 o'clock East Coast time. Now,
right.
The only issue sometimes is that he plays his videos during the same time that Seahawks play on TV. But
somebody else told me that, Eric, too. There's another Seahawks fan I know.
But I think Seahawks got to buy this weekend, and then the weekend after, the Seahawks are actually playing Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Germany, and that's going to be on like at 6 o'clock in the morning. So no problem for the next 2 weeks.
I'll tell you one thing that's going to be dynamite, Eric. On November 19th to the 20th, Ron from Cosmic Neighbors and we're going up to Stephen Cambion's cabin up in PA. He runs the show Truth Seekers. And the three of us are going to get together, and we are going to go on an actual Bigfoot investigation up in Pennsylvania. And then that night, we're also going to do a Skywatch, the three of us, and we're going to do everything live. So keep your eyes open for that. That's going to appeal to everybody. Bigfoot and UFO hunting at night. So Bigfoot during the day, UFO hunting at night. That's going to be a lot of fun.
I would recommend for Cosmic Neighbors on his front page, have upcoming shows on your front page. So you can see automatically of any future shows that are coming up.
Well, sometimes like me too, I'm guilty of this. Like, I won't put the show up. Maybe I'll do it like 2 days before. Some people like to do it a week before. Some people do it the day before. Some people do it the day of.
But I think he does have this link already made. Because didn't he put a link in the chat already for his next show coming up in an hour?
No, he said he's going to drop it in a few minutes.
Oh, here it is. Here's the link.
That's my show.
Oh, that's your show. Oh, so he's going to drop it. So he's still creating it.
Yeah, he's creating it now. He's going to do a pop-up.
I know how that goes. I know go, Ron. I'm always make it like the night before because, you know, we got so many things. And then me find... If I just type, I'm just curious how high up. See, paranormal detectives. I'm just curious if got to the point where
we're way down the bottom.
Not yet.
Yeah, okay. we're all the way at the bottom. We only got 129 subscribers.
That's not it. Oh, this is somebody else's.
That's the Paranormal Detectives.
The Paranormal.
We're just Paranormal Detectives. There it is, right there. Go down a little bit on the left column. Where all the names are.
Oh, okay. Let me go.
Oracles Beyond, the Iron Cross, and Paranormal Detectives.
There it is. Right next to. There it is. Let me put that in chat. Yeah, right now, people are.
So with this channel, we're not going to post anybody else's stuff. Just when we go live on location, we'll film that, put it together, and then put that up.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Beyond that, guys, that's today's show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this little difference. So Sunday, here's the 2 p.m. Pacific time, and I'll be back on Monday. Beyond that, guys, have a safe and great weekend. And always keep looking up. Keep your ears open, eyes open, hearing open, everything open. Have all your senses going because you never know what's going to happen next. You just
Hell
don't
yeah.
know. Anything can happen. So I'll see you guys later.